Hello guys, Papa Elbug here. Uh, I'm back. So this is a topic I've been wanting to discuss for a little while. It's been something that's concerned me a little bit and it's something that I don't feel like gets the proper representation. Like, yeah, it's something we're constantly hearing about in the Warframe community, but I don't feel like that is how a lot of players truly feel about the direction of Warframe. Because a lot of the people who are saying this stuff they either get paid to talk about Warframe, they can't really, they if they're endorsed, it's like they're not going to say anything too bad about it because they don't want to lose their sponsorships and stuff. Because it's not like without a lot of support from the community, people can make money on this game because it is a small community, and I kind of want to help grow the community a bit because this is a great game. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of it, or a lot of people have a negative opinion on the game, but it is such a good game, guys. Like, after you get into it, it's so fun, it's so addicting. It's not for everyone. It's like other games, like MMO game, just different games like this. But you can't just look at Warframe and think there's more to it than what it seems to be, and it has a really nice community. And I feel like a player like me who's not a big name Warframe creator or anyone who has like 5k plus subs, because it is a small community, and I feel like I have some different ideas on what's with the game, how I can fix it, or how it can be fixed up a little better to make it a little more appealing to a wider audience. It's important to keep bringing new players, because eventually all the players we have now are going to move on. That's like a lot of the players now are like they're going to move on eventually, because the game does have a problem that I know it cannot avoid. Is there will become a point in the game where it's like enjoyable to play for a lot of people anymore, because the game has a if you play it too much, you're gonna get bored. That's the best way I can put it. The game does not do a great job at keeping players around, because no matter what they do to the game, it's going to have a lack of content diversity further into the game you get. But I remember Warframe, like as a kid when I was like 9 or 10 and I started playing the game. The reason I was attracted to the game is because like it was different than Destiny, because what I basically heard as a kid is, and kind of as I noticed, is like Destiny's okay as a new player, same with, and this is Destiny 1, mind you. I don't know how Destiny 2 is, to be honest, but it's kind of saying that Warframe has so much to do once you get good at the game, and they're right, because there were Nightane things you could do. You could level weapons. I think more people probably played Conclave, but who cares about Conclave? But we'll get to that. There's just so much more going on with the game, and there just felt like at the time more content. Yeah, there's more content now, but it felt like there's more to, like, as a new player, there'd just be so much to go through in the beginning. And back in the day, I feel like the quality of life of the game now is just not as interesting as before, because back in the day, we didn't have strong weapons. Everything, you didn't have the freedom of going into a level. The content was just a lot more difficult. Even at the level, it had a difficulty to it. And yeah, you could obviously cheese all content at a certain point, like you can now. It's just getting to that point and getting the stuff you needed was much more of a grind than it is now, because I'll just face it, a lot less people had platinum back then. There's more people, at least for me, doing different content. Now everyone I don't know, just everybody doesn't, at least on PS4, at least. I don't know about PC, but PS4 especially, it just doesn't have the same vibe as it used to. Like, it's so sad, but I'll get into that, but nowadays it doesn't have as much going for it, and it's unfortunate, like I said 50 times now. Anyway, I'm going to try to get into some of the content. I'm going to start the video off. I'm just playing some random content in the background. It starts with, I think I'm just doing a sortie, and then it switches into some arc gun content. I was just leveling a Whereas leveling my Kuva Grattler, and then it's mining. I know it's boring, but I want to get this video done tonight, so, you know, it's gonna take some time, so leave some timestamps in the description if you want, since I'm doing this on PS4, I can't, edit it to make it, hey, this part is through this time, so if I remember, I'll put those in the description. But if guys disagree, I'd love to have a conversation about it, but I'll finally get into some of the topics. Okay, so we are going to be starting. Let me just adjust my mic because it's kind of picking up really loud, like a lot louder than I would like it to go, but it's not much I can do with the stuff I have right now because it's on share factor. I'll just try to move it a little further away from my mic. Anyway, we are going to be starting off with the things that are announced now and some of the things I already added with the Garuda update, or the Garuda Prime update, and the things that are said before that happens. So, Garuda Prime coming out on the 28th. I wish they kind of did it a little earlier, more towards spring break, but I don't know but it's fine. Just, I feel like if they wanted more players to, play it, think putting it towards spring break when a lot of people have off would be a great time for them to do it, but again, I know Warframe has a lot older population too, so they might not be needing spring break time as much, but we're going to just continue on. Anyway, we had some Augment Reworks, which all suck. Besides one, maybe with Ash, the rest of them all just still suck. Now, I don't know how exactly they could fix all the augments in this game, because most of them aren't even worth anything. They're all useless. They all make frames less useful because it requires you to pretty much sacrifice them. Well, not pretty much, exactly sacrifice a mod slot, which a lot of frames they need all 8 mods. Obviously you can add more mods but for the most part 8 mods are needed, and usually plus sure-footed so you don't, with the meta right now, which, hey, don't get any ideas, DE. I like the meta for the most part, but I feel like it's gonna be they're gonna have to do so many changes. It's actually unreal how many changes are gonna be needed to fix this mod system, and I don't know, it's going to be really difficult for them to accomplish everything they want to accomplish with fixing a lot of the Warframe mods, because a lot of them are just so broken beyond repair. They're not even worth using. Not broken in even a good way. It's just a bad way. They don't do anything. They literally hurt your builds if you use them. It's not what you're going for. Next thing I want to touch on is just on Garuda Prime. The Corvus Prime, I'm gonna be optimistic. I have a good Corvus Riven that I usually use for a Profit Taker, and it's pretty good, but I still won't use it over the regular Corvus, because with the Riven I have, it makes a Corvus so much better, so they should be really having a good Riven disposition, especially on a weapon like the Corvus, who actually uses arc guns. Unless they're new, shouldn't they all be at max dispo, because they kind of all, I don't know anybody who pulls them out mid-mission besides Profit Taker, which it's not a big deal. I mean, I'm not gonna complain about not having to pull out my arc gun, but still, it's really be nice to have a reason to use it, because the heavy weapons should be taking out level 100, well over 100 plus enemies. Can understand pulling out a gun to up to 200 or level 200, because I know it's maybe not as realistic for them to base something around a player that's level capping, but they should at least work so that it's can at least take down level 200 enemies easy. So the next thing is the Nagataki Prime, I believe. I don't know what it's actually called. It's I didn't like the gun personally, but I'm gonna see what stats it has before I further judge it. It's just, unless it has a useful gimmick to it, it's just gonna be just like every other weapon. It's just we're gonna level it and we're gonna throw it away. Or a few people will put builds on it just for content, it's gonna go away. Garuda Prime, I love what they did with Garuda Prime, but I feel like still more could be done to help Garuda out. Yeah, the passive really made her difficult to play, especially when she didn't have any, especially just with the content she, is good for, it's really, helpful. My cat's, bothering my garbage can. Buddy, you can't eat that. Okay, yeah, it's not, I think more could be done. I don't use Garuda. I'm gonna definitely try her out when her Prime comes out, or like is available to me. But I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm not like gonna get like super hyped over it, because if stuff's coming out with like one dispo, it's like, or like one circle, one dispo actually means something else. If you look at it could be like a 0.1, so it's like, I don't know how exactly it works, but like a one dot on the thing, it's like, if it's gonna be like that, I don't think it's gonna be that good, but we just gotta wait and see. So, let's see, I covered that. Okay, Angels of Zeramon, this is the stuff that's, oh yeah, Nightwave, it's the same thing as before, who cares? Okay, anyway, Angels of Zeramon. Oh, good god. Now, just a zero, oh boy. So I believe this is where we're getting our new planets at, because they had the Sanctuary. This is where that planet's going to come in, and that you could see in some of the, like in some of their streams, you could see there's the next 2 extra planets, I believe, and one of them was Sanctuary. So it's kind of like what the Derelict was before, where it's like kind of off path of everything else. So I think that's a little interesting, but not too much has been told about this, but we are guaranteed to get one new game mode is revealed, then 2 other mission types are available. First one the only one we know about so far, unless they really said anything else, was we have to pick stuff up in like a certain period of time, and then summon like a mini boss, which is kind of like a mini Eidolon, where it needs void damage. So I think that's interesting, but it's, I don't know, just not I want to see where it goes. Like, I'm gonna hope it's useful. I don't know about the other 2 game modes. I hope they're fun. Like, I really hope it's content I can play for hundreds of hours and still find enjoyment in. Like a survival, I can play that for a long time and get a lot of enjoyment out of the game, out of all that. But like, I don't want them to be so weird, like Defection or something, where you can't maximize your time. Because that's what I like about Disruption, is I didn't like it at first, but after I realized how to play it and got better at it, I really liked it, because once you optimize it, you can get so much better and you can get faster at it to make to the higher levels you want to play at. And it becomes way faster like a survival or a defense when it comes to like opening relics or scaling high enemy levels, because you can optimize it to get faster at it. Or like you can optimize your approach to it and get faster. I don't want something like Defection where you can't really speed it up. It's a slow game mode that nobody plays. Like, and I feel like looking at Disruption, other game modes can like look at that, like maybe not survival, maybe do something with Interception to where you can speed that process up. But that's the only one I can think of there you can't really maximize your time. And that one, like, survival it's survival though. It's a simple game mode. It's not it's nothing complicated. It's It's not meant to be, and that's fine. Defense, I mean, you just kill enemies faster in your spawns, but I don't know, defense is way slower than survival. In terms of getting like stuff at like if you're gonna do like relics, where disruption is definitely the way to go if you get the opportunity to do that. I'm getting off track, but I really want to see stuff where if you do like the most optimal thing, or like the better your team is and better you all work together, or better your loadout is, the faster the mission can go through, so you can get more rewards. That's what I want to see in like all the game modes. So I'll move on to the new Warframe. Geyer, I believe, is a G. I think it's like a GYRE, I believe. It is an electric-based Warframe. We have Vault, but I believe, yeah, it's about around the electricity, but like I just said, we already have Vault. Like, I don't know if this is secret information or classified information, but we have Vault. Oh yeah, and if the gameplay goes black, that's just because there's a game bug. So, I just realized that when I was talking. But yeah, I really want to see what they can do. Electricity is not a very strong element in the game at the moment. Like, it's obviously good for like linking onto enemies, but I really don't. I just want to see where it goes. To be honest, guys, I just want to see what it can do. So yeah, I'm gonna hope for the best on this one. But again, you never know what you're gonna get in this game. And I don't want it to be like a Ureli where it's just a gimmick. Kind of like, that's the thing about these Warframes, is they're just all focused on one thing. Like Ureli's that type of Warframe. Like, you can't. I don't want to. Like a. What is it? What would it be considered? Just a cute Warframe. I don't want to say that, but like, you guys kind of understand what I mean. It's just a gimmick, like a water-based frame. Like Caliban, he's a sentient frame. Like, I don't know, they're just all these frames that are just a gimmick, and they have like a few things that they do well, but their kit doesn't work together. So I'm hoping that's not the case for this frame, but looking at some recent frames, they were just trying to make the frames look cool, so that they can try to get. I don't know if it's trying to get plat sales up or just trying to get people excited for a frame. But they need to be making frames that people actually want to use that are also cool. They can't just be throwing together a frame like Ureli and thinking, hey, people want to use this. Nobody likes Ureli. Like, or if it's not like one gimmick, it's like, oh, like Inaros, he has a lot of health but does nothing better. Like, first of all, I hate Naroses because they contribute nothing to any team. And second of all, like, that's the gimmick of the frame. Obviously it's a sand frame, but the only thing it actually has going for its health. I don't want a frame that only has one thing going for it, no matter what its other abilities are. So let's see, the evolving weapons. I mean, go for it. I mean, it's definitely adds more progression. So, I mean, I won't complain about more progression being added to the game, just more stuff to work through, which, I mean, hey, I won't complain about that at all. More content, I mean, hey, it's... As long as, like, the challenges on them aren't, like, stupid, like, go catch 30 fish in 1 minute or something on the Plains of Eidolon, and do the same thing on all the other open worlds, plus challenges people don't want to do. So as long as it's not nothing too weird, I think I'm gonna be cool with those. And here's a part I wasn't really too what's the word? I wasn't so hyped about this, or like I was kind of confused on what direction this was going in. And I hope my elaborations aren't like taking up too much time, but I just have a lot of things I want to say, and well, I'll just face it, I'm a horrible speaker, but I don't think this whole room thing or your own hub area is such a good idea. Your player housing, I should say, because that's what they're calling it. I don't really like this whole concept because we already have the drifters camp, which I don't know anybody who's gone there. Maybe once to check it out afterwards, and that's it. We have obviously our ship, and then we have the dojo. Now, if they're gonna make anything like the dojo, like this, like I'm guessing that's more the direction they want to go. It's like if they're gonna make it like the dojo, they just shouldn't waste their time on it because nobody goes to the dojo outside of getting your weapons as a new player or going to the dry dock for something or whatever it may be. There's no reason to ever use it then. Because if it's just because they're saying, okay, you can go on like an elevator or something, go up to the next level where you'll fight enemies. It's just, that's cool, but if it's gonna be something like, I don't know, let's just say Fortuna Necrolis, something like that. Like, is it... Yeah, if you can just go there without that, I'm sure people will. Especially if they just let you go mission after mission, but I just don't think I'll be... It's just a playhat sync, honestly. They just want you to spend money on irrelevant content because they can't push actual content because... Or they can't push weapon sales because the weapons cost more than, like, the most expensive Prime weapon. You can't even get a... Like, let's just say you want to... I don't know, let's just... Ignis. I don't know what Ignis is going for in the market, but I'm sure I could get multiple Prime weapons that are could be considered way better, or just things that are way less. You can probably get the rarest Prime weapon for the same price. Like, that stuff is so overpriced in there. They need stuff people actually spend their money on, which I'm sure barely anybody spends money on weapons in this game unless it's like weapons that nobody wants to grind for. Which a lot of the weapons in this game are easily obtainable for the most part, so... Yeah, I'll see what it is. If there's like different vendors and like you can have to upgrade stuff, if it's like content I can keep playing, I think it'll be fine. But I guess it's you never know. But that's for the most part the stuff I wanted to cover in this section. I know it's went on a while. This is kind of all content I really wanted to touch base with everyone on and like just talk about with everyone because I just stuff I'm not too sure on. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking and move on to the next part. Okay. So, where you left off on where I'm talking about what new stuff was coming. So now I'm gonna talk about some things that I really want to see improved on within the next update, or just updates after that. So first things first, I want to see weapon rebalancing. It's not don't nerf anything. Game should have weapons that are stronger than others, but I think there should be like some sort of multiplier on like or something to really buff up like make it only accessible, even if you just want to make only on Steel Path, where like the more shots you make, the better your full auto weapons do, because at the moment full auto weapons don't do anything. Yeah, like the only things you can even bring into Steel Path are like big AoE weapons, because in Steel Path you either need a melee or you need AoE to kill the stuff fast enough to make sure you can, just keep your life support up, or it's other stuff just doesn't kill fast enough to like keep you alive. So I think there should be some sort of multiplier that works on that stuff, or maybe make it so on Primary Merciless and other augments like that, for certain types of weapons have 2, 3, 4 times damage multiplier for those weapons instead of like 4 times what, depending on the class of weapon and how effective the weapon is. Maybe make it But again, I don't want to see AoE nerf because it does. I feel like the other weapons are available, but they need to make them get an incentive to use them, not like make them. It's outside of new players. Like I remember back in the day, the Baltor Prime was like the thing everybody wanted because it was vaulted and it was such an iconic weapon because everybody would. Like the players who used that were definitely the players who were conquering all the Greniers and Corpuses and Oregon. I know that's not what a lot of people would actually say. You know, I'm just joking around. But that wasn't the content that was the content people would use that stuff for, and it was insane back in the day because it would just work. But they need to increase the damage on them now to stand up in the meta because stuff needs to start being like one-shot kills at us, like have it ramp up. But there needs to be like a Gara thing where you keep the damage, like until you die, the damage keeps going up as long as you keep doing a certain series of events. I think that should be what like full auto primaries and primaries that maybe aren't as good. They need to ramp up so they can be getting one-shot kills at a certain point at the highest level enemies, because, or at least give enough damage to where stuff starts bleeding out. And another thing, I want to see secondaries have a purpose besides just Kuva Nucor. Like, there's maybe in the new content, maybe make secondaries like something useful, because like when's the last time besides like using a Nucor as a primer, when's the last time you used maybe like Profit Taker? Like that's probably the last time I've even used one. Maybe just something to ask to kill bombs with on Eidolon hunts, just something to play. But outside of like specific things you do in the game, I don't see a reason to ever use a secondary, and it's not something that, or it's something that I don't think many people cover, but I think it's definitely a concern of mine, is that secondaries aren't getting a lot of use. And the thing is, there's so many great secondaries I would use, but why? Why had I ever use them? It's just something else I'm going to be carrying around. Personally, I don't like to carry a lot of, like, if I can not carry a weapon, it's better, because it's the stuff I have to use. It's not like I'm going to accidentally switch to a different, or just, it just works, and that's the way I like stuff. It just works. Switch over to mining now, so you guys can just listen to this, because you know there's nothing interesting that's happening. This literally is me mining so I can build a Cortage tonight, which is actually in the foundry right now. But anyway, so there's a lot of content. I want to see a lot of content balancing. Next thing I want to see this year is, if they just use this year to revamp, I'm just going to make this clear right now, they need to use the rest of the year to just make the content in the game better, and have, since they're back in the office, they need to be making new content. Like, yeah, maybe release this update and maybe like do very Paradox, because I'm sure that's what's coming up next. They want to spend the rest of the year revising all the content and then come out with a banger next year. I would be just fine with that. Like, I want to see the content ramped up again. I really, before new content needs to come out, they need to get more involved with their game. They don't know how to play their own game, which really is tough. Like, especially as somebody who really loves your games, it's like, if they don't understand where we're coming from as a player base, they'll never know, hey, this is what we need to fix, and this is the way people want to play. Like, yeah, obviously give options for everybody, because, you know, it's 2022 now, everybody matters. But it's comes to a point where it's, you really gotta prioritize what the average player wants. And it seems like they all play like I've watched them play, they all play like MR5s, like, not even MR5s, at least MR5s bullet jump. There's freaking DE members who don't even know how to bullet jump. Like, they don't not know how, but I was watching one of them one time, they're just literally rolling on the ground, like, or just doing rolls. I don't know why they said they were, but there's no advantage to it. And it's like, they don't know how to mod stuff right. It took them how long to realize that, hey, maybe melees are more powerful than other weapons. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's what they need to work on. Is like outside of just the next update is what just balancing, like, give Sentinels a use. Like, buff their guns up, way up. Like, actually, you can see in this content how little. I don't have like a massive build, but I at least have like a catalyst on there, and I feel like an MK1 Bratton with the same mods would completely shred all those enemies, but yet it's doesn't. So like, give Sentinels like a use again. Like, even if you don't offer the same buffs as Kavats, like, hey, at least give the reason to use them. Like, they do a lot of damage and stuff. That's just and also bring back the Gladiator set bonus. There's no reason not to have that. That's just. It doesn't. It only gives people nicer numbers. Just be nice to everyone, D, and just let people have fun with that stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through other things I'd like to see. Like, if we're just talking revisions to certain content, you can even see in the background, like, and just fix up the certain bugs that have been bothering everyone. Like, fix Eidolon bugs. Like, I know a lot of people complain about the bugs. Like, fix the Eidolon bugs without creating new bugs in Eidolons. That'd be something that, obviously, the more you fix when you fix, like, a bug, you're almost guaranteed to get a new one to come up. It just the way it is, because it's, when you code, you can't do everything, but at least like, even on PC has the largest player base. Give them open betas with all the content, so that you can then use that statistics. If you don't want to play the game, use those statistics on the players who do actually play the game to see if the content works or not. And don't be hiding certain content. I'm still mad about the Korra thing, where they didn't show that Korra was getting a mega nerf, and then what do you know? You can't even use Korra without using a Strangle Dome, because the whip it has the same line of fire as the whip, not the direction of the player. So it's stuff like that. Like, don't hide what you're trying to do from players. You need to be transparent on what you're gonna do. Nobody, no matter what situation, doesn't want transparency. We just want to know what's going on with D. You know, it's not like I'm even trying to personally attack the DE. I'm just trying to, like, work with them. It's such a difficult task to, like, just try to work with DE on certain things, because they're just so hard-headed about certain things that they don't understand what you're talking about. So give us open betas so we can try out the new content before it comes out. So, like, hey, this mod's broken, this ability doesn't work, this, like, I'm not saying like add all the content, but for, like, big updates, you gotta give us something we can work with, like, before the content comes out, even if it's just, okay, you can play around the, like, I'm not saying, like, show us all the new content, but just think of all the problems we have every time a new open world comes out. I remember when the Deimos update came out, there were so many bugs with it. There'd be, like, in the quest, fish weren't spawning, just, you would get, like, I remember having to exit out of the game and restart the quest, or, like, restart the mission where I was doing the quest, like, 5 times, because the game would just start bugging out. It's not good. And then this year, like, if we're gonna try to improve what we have now for this year, I feel like this is kind of gonna go into the next one with, like, what I want to see in the future. Like, this is the stuff I want to see, like, in the next few months, or, like, at least see a change in. Actually, I'm gonna wait until I have this other part. I'm gonna wait until the next segment. So anyway, I'm gonna stop this part, and I'm gonna. Those are just all the things I wanted to see. Just balance changes and just some gameplay changes that are going to be really useful. So I'm gonna pick this up in the next part with what I want to see in the future, in the distant future, like year and a half. Okay, so what I want to see in the future. So I'm just going to go from a year and a half. So we'll just say up to TennoCon, the stuff that they did, the stuff I want to see come into play, comes into there maybe a little later. Duvier Paradox, I feel like is going to be the next update coming out. Unless they want to add on to the Angels of Zeramon content as like mid. Wait, but I just want to, like, in my personal opinion, I just thinking longevity of the game. Wait, let's just stick it out. Just get the players to come back for Angels of Zeramon. Try to get some hype building so people will want to come back. And then beginning of the year, like obviously release whatever mid-year update you want to release. Keep the prime frames coming. Just all that. Do the changes I said for this rest of this year, and then beginning of the year, I want to see cross save. I cannot stand to play on PS5 or PS4 anymore. I won't buy a PS5 because I think I could buy another gaming computer for same price. And I don't really like PS5's interface. I know it's a stupid reason not to like a console, but I just can't get down with it. So you need to see we need cross save. Any game that's going to compete needs cross save. Next year, we need to see Duvier Paradox. We need to continue on the story. We need to elaborate on the bit of the story that we got. There's so many things that need to be explained now. Just add on to the story. Make the story huge, Bring in new content, new engaging content. If these game modes work, keep hammering it in, Gotta keep working at it. Find something that is try to use this year. At least for me, if I was dev, I'd find this year to work on just hammering out every little thing that's wrong with the game. Or that I could see that'd be wrong with the game. That'd just be me. But I would just try to change, and just try to please the crowd as much as possible for this time. And I'd just like to see the changes needed to really make the game, because next year I want to see the cross-save. Like, the cross-save needs to be out by next year or the game's dead. Now, I know everybody says, if you don't do this and this, the game's going to be dead. The game will be dead next year if we don't do cross-save. We need to at least release some content that will keep players interested, because Warframe won't just die, but after a while, after you hurt the player base so much, who's so passionate about your game, they'll just stop coming back. For example, I was used to be this is going to sound weird, but I used to play a lot of Fortnite. I know, this is not the same type of game I'm talking about, but hear me out on this. Their developers hurt me and the player base so much. The people who spent years of their life grinding that game, and they just hurt to try pushing the casual players, which were not the real casual. If they don't find their crowd who loves the game, and they don't prioritize them, and they only prioritize players who won't be playing the game and won't be sticking around because you're gonna realize the game has too steep of a learning curve for them. If you prioritize those players and break everything in the game everybody loves, you're gonna kill your player base. I used to love that game, and I mean, I know it's not for everyone, of course, and there was a lot of cringy stuff in there, but I really cared about the game, and their devs literally, Epic Games literally destroyed that. Just get completely, they only care about money at a certain point, and they just push the game for people who are going to drop money on the game, and they won't get anywhere, but they'll make sure they keep playing the game, keep getting their easy wins, and so how does this relate to Warframe? Well, ever since I stopped playing around Plains of Eidolon, I took a break for 2 years, about. That was actually during the Fortnite era. But anyway, they really added a lot to the game, which I think was, for the most part, pretty positive. But they keep releasing these bad updates of recently, like these quests that take 20 minutes to beat. Like, obviously. And then the New War wasn't a horrible update, but it was just so drawn out, and it was so confusing. Like, I just we need something where we need a long quest that's meaningful, has a lot of quality content. Yeah, you can make the quest difficult. Like don't like actually make modding a requirement. Like actually make people prepare for the content. Like actually go through the process to get the most optimal build to deal with that. I'm not saying like every player needs to get a max level cap setup, but like I don't see why it's not why. So like, something they do in a lot of other games is, when you actually go to higher quests, the levels of the enemies don't cap out at like 30. They continue to go up with the players. Like what you would like. I thought for a while, like by now we would be having, especially when I was grinding back up from like messing the game for 2 years. I was like, okay, well a lot of these quests build off each other, or there's a lot of content that builds off each other. I bet there's gonna be a lot of content that's gonna be requiring me to, or main content that's going to be requiring me to kill level 100 some enemies, but it's just not there. I think the quest needs to be, you need to actually play the game. It's not it shouldn't be an option to, just not play the game. And it just, I don't know. It's might be difficult because obviously the game has a steep learning curve, but again, if they want to keep their players around, get them interested, get them engaged. That's what they need to do. So, after that, I don't know what the update exactly should be, what I'd like to see. What I'd like to really see is, the Sentient War is not, I want to see, finish up a lot of these, introduce some new characters, but I just, they need to put an end to some of these older characters that we never really got to see the end of their storyline. First of all, Era isn't dead, or your Era very possibly isn't dead. I want to see the end of his storyline. I want to see the end of all these other storylines. We've seen the end of Lotus's storyline, or at least for now, or the end of her storyline. I want to see that for all the main characters. And since you're going down the multiverse route, I feel like there's so much they could do, but I just don't want to see it screwed up like everything else when it comes to multiverse. Actually give me a good multiverse. It can work, it just, don't make it overly confusing to try to understand it's just for it to be a multiverse. But make some end these storylines for all these other characters that don't matter. Make the content cinematic, make it engaging, and then make sure, the problem with the new war is it had no content afterwards. Yeah, get maybe maximum 3 hours of content afterwards, just grinding the armor stuff, but add some content after, make them after a quest, you should be having, yeah, you unlock this new stuff. Now with that new stuff, you should be able to build on it, and you should be able to, I'm not saying a railjack, yeah, don't be adding more railjack stuff, guys, you don't know how to do it, so, but, it's something like that. Unlock something new in the gameplay where you're going to be spending 20, 30, maybe even 40 hours after that, even more if you want to, just getting new stuff with the new stuff writing new content with the new stuff you got. So, I mean, if you want to keep players there, I mean, that's the way to do it. And, make the content actually, that you're writing for, at least good enough to fit in the meta. Don't be underpowering everything because it might be OP. That's stupid. Would you decide to show up to work naked because you might offend some nomadic people who prefer to show up to work nude? Oh, you would? Okay, well, either way, would it really hurt that much to make content useful? Or just add useful content that people want to see? It's just, and actually make stuff that's good. So just to recap everything we did, I just want to see, I'm optimistic for what new content will be coming out for the Angels of Zeramon. I want to, praying to God, I hope they fix up a lot of the bugs in the future. I want to see cross save, and and eventually just have the best year ever that's going to revive Warframe and put it at the top where it belongs. If you enjoyed this, I know it's a long video. I know it wasn't the best video ever. But if you did enjoy it, please like the video, subscribe, just give me some support. I don't upload that much, but as someone who's really passionate about Warframe, it will really help me out. So yeah, thank you if you made it this far, and I'll see you. Goodbye.